OK, your calls, please, on whether the government should pay the so-called Waspi Women compensation over their pensions. 0207 862 2222. This row all comes down to the way changes to the state pension age were communicated, affecting women born in the 50s. The government previously said it would not give payouts. Now it's reconsidering that, saying new evidence has come to light. So let's just have a look here. I did ask AI to show me some Waspi Women, and here they are. And it's all about time. That's why they're holding the clocks here. So they're being told they're born at the wrong time, fundamentally. The Waspi Women have waited a long time for satisfaction here. And they're now running out of time, obviously, because they're of an age. They want to see some satisfaction here. So let's see exactly what a Waspi Woman is. Waspi, W-A-S-P-I. What is one? It stands for Women Against State Pension Inequality. And to go back to the start of this whole thing, so it's women born in the 50s, generally between 1950 and 59. They were affected by changes to the UK state pension age to allow retirement at the same age between women and men. They could claim it at 60, the state pension. In 1995, under John Major, that began to go up to 65. It accelerated in 2011. The women say we were never properly told. The danger now is Labour are hinting we might change our minds. We might compensate you. Look, you don't want to disappoint them. You've made them smile already. Do not disappoint these Waspi ladies, because they're a fearsome campaigning outfit, aren't they, Carole?
They are a fearsome campaigning outfit. And I'm not going to say outright they shouldn't get this money, because they've campaigned long and hard for it. However, what I would say is that, and actually the bottom line is, Starmer promised them that if he got into power, he would re-look at it and try and help them. So this is yet another problem. And yet he told them last year he wasn't going to give them the money. However... Yeah,
so this would be a sort of a U-turn on a U-turn,
It's a U-turn on a U-turn. However, I think it's going to be even more difficult, and I fear their hopes are going to be got up again, because we're being told now that we have no money. We're 3 trillion in debt. We're told that we're going to have to raise income tax to actually keep us going. And yet we're going to pay out... It's going to come to like 10.5 billion, the amount that they need paying. I don't know where it's going to come from, especially when they're vying against people like the victims of the infected blood scandal. They're vying against the Post Office Horizon scandal, people who want compensation.
Right.
You know, both of those things. You know, that left the blood scandal.
Think rights and wrongs of this, Gavin?
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, Carole, with the infected blood and the Post Office scandals. But this is absolutely a question about fairness, isn't it? You know, this is something that these women have really, helped to build this country up to what it is now. They definitely deserve some form of payment. I'm not sure.
They were told. So, OK, forgive me if you're a Waspi woman. You're going to be cross with this. In the 90s, as it happens, I was reporting at Westminster, so I remember this story, and I remember thinking, I wonder if this affects me. It didn't. But in the 90s, they clearly announced we are moving the pension age of women to make it equal to men. And in the 90s, these ladies will have been roughly 40 years old. Now, I would not blame anyone for not hearing that news. They say they should have all been sent letters, and they weren't. But fundamentally, the change was telegraphed a long way ahead to go to 65.
It was put out there in 1995.
95, yeah.
Major's government.
Is that not a defence, Gavin? We told you this in 1995?
But, 95 is a long time ago for me to kind of try and countenance that. But I feel like it's something that should have been communicated and made easy in order to access right now, because at the moment they're struggling. It's in terms of getting the money, not necessarily struggling financially, but
lady affected would be now about 70, wouldn't they?
What's me?
Well, yeah. So give us an example from your. Do you mind giving me your birth year?
I have to tell you. I mean, my birth year is 54, so yes, I'm right in the middle of all of that.
So you're 61.
And I vaguely remember it at the time, but it didn't kind of calculate with me, because I was never going to retire at 60 anyway. But when you think about this, and I have supported the Waspi Women in the past, because I think they've been messed around by subsequent governments. But when you think about it, it's quite right to make their pension age 65, along with the guy. All it was ever to do was to make it equal to guys. There's no reason why men should be able to retire later than women. But if they had kept it at 60, you would have had a third of your population getting pension from the state, which can't be the case.
You were 50 in 2004.
Yes.
And you would have thought in 2014 you would get a pension. You already knew that it was being moved to 2019,
yes.
Correct?
Yes.
It was then accelerated by David Cameron in 2011, and that's part of the real anger here.
Yes.
So you were basically finding out in the 2000s that your pension was moving further away.
And the thing is, it didn't actually have much of an effect on me because I knew unless someone retired me, I wasn't going to retire. But what these women are saying basically is that they had made plans for retirement and they had planned their lives, and then suddenly they realised that they were.
Okay.
But I think the biggest thing for them now is the messing around. Starmer either agrees to pay or he says you're never getting it, and put them out the misery.
I think I don't know, but I'm thinking if you're Labour, you've now given this signal and they're jumping up and down saying this is great. And my goodness, if they now say, oh, well, we've decided not to, I wouldn't want to be in their position. Linda's in Kent, David's in Southampton. David, can we afford this?
No, but the reason I've rung is to say that what a compensation society we have now. Everybody wants compensation. I'm a member of EMAG, which is the Equitable Members Action Group.
Yes, Equitable Life, that is, isn't it? That went badly wrong.
Equitable Life, that's right. Yeah, I'm an EMAG, Equitable Members Action Group.
I know. Yeah.
And we've been kicking off about this for years. We got on very well in the last government because it was very well supported by a lot of MPs. And then all of a sudden, because the Conservatives screwed up, we lost a lot of members that were...
But just to stay on, stay on Waspi Women. You don't think we can afford to pay them, is that right?
Of course we can't.
Let me bring in Linda. I've kept Linda waiting. Linda, do you think David's right?
So, well, I don't think we'll get any compensation. I've already realised that. I was born in 1953. So I had 3 different dates to retire or to get my pension. At first it was 60, then it was 61, 62 and so many months. I finally got my pension one day before my 64th birthday.
Nice.
That was back in...
So it was constantly moving away from you.
2017. It's constant. I'm surprised I got it, to be honest. I didn't hold my breath until I actually saw it go into my building society. I don't get a full pension. God knows why, because I worked from the time I was 15 until I was 63, because I was made redundant a year before I got my pension. Well,
so should you be getting, I'm sorry to ask questions here, but we just need to keep it focused. Should you be getting compensation for the pension you missed out between the age of 60 and 64?
Well, I think I deserve something.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Thank you.
Whether I deserve 3 years' worth of pension, I don't know.
That's it. Well, I don't know what they're going to be doing. Go on.
Give money away willy-nilly to other people, like the 3-child benefit or whatever they call it. I mean, they're doing that. So what's the matter with giving us something?
Okay, thank you, Linda. Let me just get another call. Sorry, Carole. Sarah in Hampshire. Hi. Sarah, sorry, in Hampshire. Hi.
Hi, Jeremy. Yes, I'd like to make several points have already been made. I want to make a point, first of all, before anyone chips in, as they always do, to say the fact that I don't think any Waspi women dispute the fact that the pension age should not be equal. That is not the problem. I went to a demonstration in London on the 30th of October last year in which Keir Starmer, to make a link here to a previous item, Keir Starmer's face was paraded on all our vans saying that, in his opinion, Waspi women should be compensated.
I know, he said that, and so did Rachel Reeves. I know that.
Yeah, and it was going round and round Parliament Square, and we were all cheering, yes, he's going to do something. Well, absolutely nothing's happened. The other points that I would like to make was that basically when women born in the 1950s, and I was born in 1955, so I didn't get my pension until I was 66. When 50s women were starting their working life, women were not allowed to join pension schemes. I had 2 jobs where their pension schemes were open to men, but they were not allowed and they were not open to women. Eventually I became a teacher, and obviously I got into a pension scheme. So, but that was advantageous.
So what compensation are you seeking?
I think, obviously there is a sliding rule because some women are in much more dire financial circumstances. But I think a gesture, I think, £2,000-3,000 or something to every Waspi woman would be a statement, would be a nice act, would be something. And I appreciate what Carole said totally, that we're behind the post office, we're behind the infected blood issues, which makes it very difficult. But I don't think that helps women who, some of whom are living in really dire financial circumstances. And actually, as Waspi Women have been saying for some time, and I've been a member of the organisation for quite a while now, we were not notified. We were not even considered back in the day to be worth the price of a stamp. To be notified.
I think that's true. And of course, back in the day, yes, they announced it was in the papers the next day after it was in Westminster and all. But you didn't have the internet to search it up. So if you missed that day's papers, you might have missed it.
You know what is galling for the Waspi Women is that, they say the minute Labour got into power, train drivers on 60, 70 grand a year immediately got given a pay rise. So did doctors who were on lots of money. So there was enough money to do that, but there wasn't enough money for Starmer to fulfil it.
I guess this will cost more, but I hear what you say. James is in Northamptonshire. James, can we afford it?
I don't really care whether we can afford it. Just wanted to make the point. I retire next year, and I've done checks to make sure I'm getting my pension. So my point is, why, you're coming up to retirement age, why don't you start checking before you actually retire?
I think it may be that actually this is like a slow train coming. It took almost 20 years for the penny to drop, and it didn't help that David Cameron and George Osborne accelerated it. So, but yeah, you raise a good point. Why does people need to be written to?
It's not the most easy of things to think about when you are in the trenches. Effectively, if you're thinking about this 20 years, 30 years before you retire, how do you know how to go about making sure your pension's okay? And it's difficult. And so I feel a lot of sympathy for people who feel like they've had the rug pulled under them.
But you don't think about it 20 years before, but you do think about it 5 years before. You would have a look at it.
But by then it's too late. By then it's too late. And what's really weird about this whole situation is women were getting the pension at 60 when they were statistically living longer than men. That was such a strange thing. Thank you, James. One more call. Lorraine in Essex, hi.
Hi, Jeremy. How are you?
May I ask if you're a Waspi woman?
I am. I was born in 54. I think we are entitled to some compensation, but I don't think the country can afford it. But what I think is you have to pay 35 years national insurance stamp to get your full pension.
Right.
Why is it when you get to 35 years, if you're still working, they still keep taking national insurance?
They do, yeah.
We know why.
Well, I paid over 40 years because I carried on working after my pension age. Right. But then I was getting taxed on my pension because I was still working.
Sure.
You're paying NICs. Well, it's, as they say, it's a Ponzi scheme where the people who are paying now are paying the pensions of people drawing the pensions now, which is why young people think they're being ripped off left, right and centre because they don't think they're ever going to get a state pension.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, thank you, Lorraine. Oh, I'm glad we did that item, very important. Later, it's the papers and everything else. Find out exactly what you have to say to a seagull if you want to stop it taking your chips. After the break, we're asking if we should take down St George's flags that are being hung around towns and from lampposts, and that's because some NHS staff apparently find them intimidating when they make home visits. 020 7862 2222. See you shortly.